I don't know. I just don't know what the hell goes on.
What did you think of Jake's power, man, when you were in there?
I don't remember it. But my body was really sore. Yeah, my body, my chest, my stomach and stuff was really sore.
Once again, I turn jobs.
We're probably going to be
every time.
This guy is a real boxer. So it'll be another opportunity to show that Jake Paul is a real boxer.
Mike Tyson is shocked after seeing Jake Paul's intense training for his fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Tyson also recalls their official fight, saying that Jake's punches left his whole body sore the next day, especially his stomach. He adds that his family really likes Jake and supports him as he prepares for the toughest opponent of his career.
Jake Paul is obviously,
he's
big.
beautiful. My family loves Jake Paul. Oh,
he's cool.
Could you fuck him? Could you fuck him up?
Huh?
Could you fuck him up?
Oh, so fucking easy.
You think?
Yeah, but I would love him. I would never. I mean, it's my own fucking family. Everybody loves this little white motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Oh shit! Oh shit! Yo,
And
wait.
he got balls. He got some fucking balls. When you see a white boy with balls, fuck. I'm talking about from real, but like, fuck you, motherfucker.
Yeah, but you would, but time out. Would you? wait, would you pop?
Oh no, I don't remember the fight that much. I kind of blanked out a little. Listen, know what I remember? Coming back from the first round. And then the next day, I remember Jake is doing some kind of, I don't know, what was he doing at the ring?
Oh, yeah, a little bow at the end. He bowed.
And that's the last thing I remember. But the day after the fight, right after the day after, I woke up and told my wife, why did I do that? I don't know. I just don't know what the hell goes on.
What did you think of Jake's power, man, when you were in there?
I don't remember it. But my body was really sore. Yeah, my body, my chest, my stomach and stuff was really sore.
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has added a personal twist to this fight. He's not just stepping into the ring to prove his own worth, but also to seek revenge on behalf of Mike Tyson. Julio claims Jake Paul disrespected a living legend and intends to set the record straight inside the ropes.
We talked to Chavez previously, and he says this fight, he looks forward to getting revenge for Mike Tyson for what you did to him. I know you, Tyson, actually go way back. What's your thoughts on that, him saying he'd get revenge for Tyson?
Yeah, whatever he needs to motivate himself and whatever dreams he has in his head, but he's not going to beat me. So he's just going to be another legend that I'm going to beat and embarrass.
Well, you always have big people at your fights. Have you sent any invites to the president?
Oh, not currently, not currently.
Who do you want? Who do you want to see there?
Man, we'll see. It's LA, so I think a lot of people will show up.
Listen, Badu Jack basically said he'll offer you a title shot. That's fast. I know you said. I heard you say earlier. You can see it happening in a couple of years. What do you really think about that? When I know you're looking forward to this fight, but like when you hear something like that, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm super interested. I had Nikisa contact his team behind the scenes, so those discussions are happening.
And you look at him and you think you could take him?
For sure.
Jake's recent training shows sharp focus with faster punches, better footwork, and stronger combinations. He's facing a younger, fresher opponent with real experience. His team is pushing him mentally and physically as he prepares for this serious challenge. This time it's not about hype, it's about proving himself. Facing Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is a shift in Jake Paul's boxing path. While his past fights have featured athletes long past their primes, Julio stands apart. He's in his 30s, still active, and more in tune with the current era of boxing. Jake acknowledges this difference openly and seems aware that the danger level has been raised. UFC fighter Mike Perry weighs in with a fair perspective. He sees Julio as a seasoned and technically experienced fighter, a real test for Jake Paul. Beating Julio would mean more than winning another headline. It would signal that Jake is capable of surviving in the ring with those who know how to handle pressure tactics and ring IQ.
Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who you got?
That'd be interesting if Jake can beat a guy with such experience, and he's very confident, and I think he might do it. So, yeah, cool. Thank you.
There's a growing number of fans who think Jake Paul might actually pull this off. If he defeats Julio, it wouldn't just be another win, it would be a major upset that ripples across boxing communities. This isn't about fighting influencers or athletes from other sports. This is about beating someone who grew up with gloves on and championship blood in his veins.
Can Chavez do this? Here we go. DW at Walmart.
Okay, let's see it.
Jake's brother Logan also recognizes the gravity of this match. He's been vocal about how this fight is unlike any Jake has taken on before. It's not about flashy moments or pay-per-view drama. It's about grit and survival in the ring. Julio's experience and boxing background present a level of threat that Jake has never had to navigate.
Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
I think it's one of his toughest fights.
It's definitely his toughest fight. Jake, I feel like, has gotten stiffed a few times this year with who his opponents were gonna be. This is what I don't understand about people hating on him. He's not fighting tomato cans. Every single person that he fought had a chance to beat him. And by the way, people believed that they were probably going to beat
every time.
This guy is a real boxer. So it'll be another opportunity to show that Jake Paul is a real boxer.
One of the major talking points surrounding this bout is the contrast between Mike Tyson and Julio. When Jake fought Tyson, he was 58 and clearly out of his prime despite the legend's aura. Julio, on the other hand, is far younger and still carries the tools to fight effectively. The age gap matters especially in a sport where stamina, reflexes, and speed define outcomes.
What do you think about when you see some of these matches? Like didn't they just have Jake Paul was gonna fight
Tyson.
What do you think about that shit, man?
It's fucking crazy, isn't it?
It's fucking dumb, I think.
Like, well, what are you expecting? What do you think the outcome's going to be?
Well, I think...
Because I thought that Jake Paul would have lost by now, even fighting these guys at some stage, but he keeps winning. Like, I know that they're not, like, in their prime or whatever, but the whole background was fighting.
That's a good point.
And he keeps, like, somehow pulling it out. Like, if he pulls this one out, I don't care how old Mike Tyson gets. I'm not even fighting that guy until... Because he actually sat down on my show. He's fucking crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I felt I'm not fighting. Even if he's 70 years old, I'm not fighting him.
He just felt like he had that danger in him?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
well, I
God.
asked him, what would you be if you weren't a boxer? He said, a fucking criminal. Like, stone cold in my eyes.
Damn,
and I'm like, okay, nice.
Things turned fiery in the lead-up press conference. Julio openly challenged Jake Paul's credibility, asking who he has really beaten and calling into question his list of opponents. He even brought up the generational gap, reminding Jake that he was already a champion when Jake was just a kid. The tension wasn't staged. It was real, and it has only increased anticipation around what will happen when these two finally meet in the ring.
Mira, para empezar,
To start off,
nunca noqueado a nadie.
he's never knocked anybody out.
Dime a uno que haya noqueado.
Give me one name he's knocked out.
Uno.
Just one.
Knockout.
Es como si yo peleara con mi papá. Aunque él es mejor que yo, lo puedo noquear.
It's like if I fought with my dad, even though he's better than me, but you know, he's just old.
So,
He's talking about Mike Tyson.
va a ser una buena pelea.
I'll whoop both your asses on the same night.
It's gonna be a good fight.
Put both the Chavezes in there. I'll whoop senior and junior.
Dile que
Julio.
Cuando él nació, yo ya era campeón, dile.
When you were born, I was already a champ.
There's two things you can't beat. There's two things you can't beat. Me and your drug addiction.
There's a fatigue building among boxing purists and casual fans alike. Many are tired of Jake Paul making headlines by calling out retired champions and legends far past their prime. They see it as disrespectful to the sport's legacy and believe it undermines true competition. Julio may be older now, and not the fighter he once was, but he still holds more legitimacy than some of Jake's prior opponents. This match could either break that narrative or confirm it.
Bro, it's actually getting annoying. Jake Paul, you aren't slick. What is this fight? It was just announced that Jake Paul's next fight will be against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Are we serious? He's 39. I get he was a WBC champion, but that was 13 and 14 years ago. This dude is 39. How do you go from wanting to fight Canelo to fighting somebody Canelo smoked every single round when Canelo fought him? It wasn't even close. It actually makes me mad because I want to see Jake Paul fight somebody, an actual boxer, somebody good, because I really want to see if he's really about it. But he picks the worst fights. And I get it. He's making a ton of money. So we can't even hate. We can't hate. But I just want to see if he's really about being a WBC champion, really getting up in the ranks in the boxing. Bro, if he was really about it, he would have fight Tommy Fury again. But he doesn't want to do that. When he fought a real boxer, we saw what happened. And now we're fighting another washed 39-year-old. We already know how this fight is going to go. We already know Jake Paul is going to make a ton of money. At the end of the day, we can't hate, but this is getting annoying. Can we just fight somebody good? Somebody that's actually fighting right now? Bro, what are we doing?
Despite his experience, Julio isn't entering the ring on a hot streak. His recent performance against Canelo Alvarez left much to be desired. He looked sluggish, his speed was clearly diminished, and he seemed to struggle just to survive the full 12 rounds. These signs of aging don't erase his legacy, but they do cast doubt on whether he can go toe-to-toe with a younger, hungrier fighter like Jake Paul. It adds another layer of unpredictability to the fight's outcome.
How good is Jake Paul's next opponent, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.? Can he pull off the upset and beat Jake? Now, Chavez Jr. in his prime was a really solid fighter. 46-0, four-time WBC middleweight champion. This is him against Sergio Martinez, a top 3 pound-for-pound fighter. Hurt him bad with the left hook, dropped him in the 12th round, nearly got the finish, but Martinez did end up winning this fight. And then after losing the title in 2017, this is him versus Canelo in 2017. Solid pressure fighter, good body shots, decent hand speed, but these are pretty much his only highlights in the fight, because he pretty much lost every round 12-0. But still, he did go the distance with Canelo. But then you get to his most recent fight versus Uriah Hall at cruiserweight. He still got some decent body shots, but he looks considerably slower fighting at a heavier weight class. His footwork is a bit plotty, and he's not as fast. Look, Chavez Jr., he's not a bad fighter. He's never been a bad fighter. But what he is very undisciplined and considerably slower and more flat-footed at 39 years old fighting at cruiserweight. The technicality, the experience, it will give him a 25 to 30% chance. But the youth, the size, the speed of Jake, that'll give him more of the edge.
Jake Paul's decision to fight Julio isn't reckless, it's strategic. Julio's resume is strong enough to give the bout legitimacy, but his recent form leaves just enough vulnerability for Jake to exploit. It's a perfect balance. If Jake wins, people will say he beat a legend. If he loses, he'll at least get credit for stepping up. Julio's name carries value, but his present performance raises questions. This mix of danger and opportunity is exactly what Jake seems to be aiming for.
With addiction issues like he has for so long in his pro career, this fight does become a little bit of a dangerous one for Jake. Not because Chavez Jr. is in his prime anymore. He's still going to be a shell of that early 20s Julio Cesar Chavez. But with 60 wins under his belt, if there is still any of that muscle memory left, there's still any go left in his body, because again, I hate to keep referring to it, doing drugs or having addiction issues does take its toll on your body, and sometimes it isn't recoverable, especially as you're going up in weight. Julio Cesar Chavez is not a normal cruiserweight, so he's going to be moving up as he gets older. How does that entail what he's going to do in this fight? I don't know, but I'll tell you, I watched him ringside against Uriah Hall, and it wasn't an impressive performance when he beat Uriah Hall in a 6-round fight. Honestly, when I watched the fight back, it looked like the only reason he beat Uriah Hall in that fight was because Uriah, like most MMA fighters when they come to boxing, don't take credence of the rule set, right? They get hit with a ton of shots that don't hurt them, but also they're getting hit with shots that are scoring against them. Uriah Hall didn't look overwhelmed in that fight at all.
Jake Paul has carefully constructed a persona of someone who doesn't dodge challenges. Whether or not fans agree with his opponent selections, his pattern is clear. He looks for matchups that carry name value and risk. His goal has always been more than just fighting. It's about spectacle, legacy, and public debate. Facing Julio fits that formula. This fight gives him a shot at silencing critics while continuing to prove that he's not just here to entertain, but to compete at a serious level.
Sitting over here to the left with a big name, does this signal to the boxing world that you're looking to get back on that championship path, the pursuit of a world title?
Yeah, look, I always said it. I'm going to fight really tough people, and I'm going to fight big money fights. This is prize fighting. And so I'm giving the fans what they want with every single fight, taking on tougher opponents, and this is just that.
I can't help but notice it's a cruiserweight fight. The co-main event is a cruiserweight world title. If you look just to your right, there are 2 belts sitting there on the stage. Is it at all in your mind, if you beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., that a matchup with that man, Zurdo Ramirez, might not be far behind?
Yeah, 100%, man. This is what I came here to do, is become world champion and to create one of the greatest sports stories the world has ever seen. Going from Disney Channel to YouTube to world champion in 6 to 7 years, that's the most relatable and best sports story that any kid can get behind, and that's what I'm here to do, is inspire the next generation and do what no one's ever done before.
Veteran boxer Gabe Rosado weighs in with an important reminder: experience counts. While Jake might be younger and in better condition, Julio has been in battles that Jake can't imagine. From championship rounds to high-pressure nights, Julio's ring wisdom can't be overlooked. Rosado points out that experience isn't just about how many fights you've had, it's about knowing how to adjust mid-fight, handle adversity, and capitalize on small moments. Julio's past may be his biggest advantage.
We got a lot to get to on the show, and I want to start with Jake Paul. This week, Jake's fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was formally announced with a press conference in LA. Paul and Chavez Jr. will meet in a cruiserweight fight. Jake is coming off a win over Mike Tyson last summer. A lot of people watched that. Chavez Jr. has not fought since beating MMA fighter Uriah Hall just around the same time. Some have said this is a good fight for Jake Paul, Gabe, noting that Chavez is a former world title holder, even though that was more than a decade ago. Others have criticized it as kind of a sideshow, given that Chavez is pushing 40 and probably a decade past his best days. Where do you stand on this? What do you think of this fight?
Well, you know, I had to take some time to think about it, man, because when it was first done, when the fight was first made, I felt that it was just, I kind of compared it a little bit to the Mike Tyson situation. Mike Tyson fight, I don't really consider that an official fight. You know what I mean? Even though it was ruled a official boxing match, but because, you know, Chavez is just very inconsistent. You know what I mean? And you know, I really don't know his habits. You know, he has a bad track record on, you know, preparing. But look, man, if Chavez comes in at least 60%, then I think Jake really has a fight, you know, because one thing that Chavez has is experience. He may not have the youth, you know what I mean, and the agility that Jake has right now, but he does have the experience. And I think that experience will give Jake a problem.
I completely agree with you. I think this is an excellent fight for Jake Paul. Officially, he is 11-1, but he's really like 2-1 as a boxer. He's fought Tommy Fury. He fought a couple of no-name cruiserweights. I guess if you want to throw Mike Perry into that list, you can say he's 3-1, but against guys that are traditional boxers.
From a marketing perspective, this is a win-win scenario. Jake Paul brings a massive social media pull, and Julio brings a legacy and boxing pedigree. Together, they offer something for everyone, from purists who respect Julio's name to mainstream fans who follow Jake's every move. It's the kind of cross-generational crossover that generates big numbers and major headlines. Even skeptics can't help but tune in to see how it plays out.
Let's find a real boxer. This man's an ex-world champion. He's way smaller when he was competing. He had to come up to my weight. He's the son of a legend. I'm now Puerto Rican. He's Mexican. It's the best you could do. It's brilliant. From a business standpoint, it's brilliant. You can't really do better than that if you're not trying to feed man to the wolves, but you're trying to make it appear so.
But do you reckon it's going to generate numbers?
Good question.
It depends how they market it.
It depends what Chavez comes on.
Because
Jake won't be able to push this himself. It depends what Chavez comes on. If Chavez comes on some like, listen, bro,
want to teach you boxing,
I'm gonna teach you boxing, then it can sell.
That type of energy.
This fight is widely seen as the biggest test of Jake Paul's career. It's not just about adding another name to his record, it's about measuring himself against a real threat. Julio may not be at his peak, but he still represents something Jake hasn't faced before. A true lifelong boxer. If Jake can win this, it will silence many of the doubters. If he loses, it will raise serious questions about how far his skills can really go in professional boxing.
I like it. He was a little listless. He can get listless. But he's big. He's schooled in boxing.
It just does nothing for me.
Yeah. It is a challenge, though. It's a legit challenge, right? He's probably
he got his ass whooped. He got his ass whooped by Anderson Silva. Jake's already beat Anderson Silva, so it's like
if he shows up for the fight, if he's really training, he's fairly tough. How old is he now?
39.
Oh wow.
He's 40.
Oh wow.
I don't think that one's gonna get big numbers. It's just like, all right, it's not a good next step. It's almost like he's going backwards.
But
now.
Wouldn't you say it's a good challenge for him?
No,
he's gonna beat him.
Yes. No, it's not a good challenge because he already got his ass whooped by Anderson. You know, it doesn't do much. I guess it keeps Jake active, and it's a boxer.
Yeah.
But the boxing, you're still going to get validation from the boxing community, which is what he wants. It keeps him busy, I guess. So that's good.
As the fight draws near, Jake insists he's giving everything to prepare. Those close to him say his training camp has been intense, with no distractions or shortcuts. He's reportedly aware that this is his biggest opportunity to shift how the world views him as a boxer. He's not treating this like an exhibition or a PR stunt. It's a defining moment. Whether or not he can pull it off remains to be seen, but one thing's clear. Jake Paul is stepping into this fight with serious intent.
It's not going to be me, but I'm training harder than ever. I know this is my toughest opponent yet. Maybe not the biggest name opponent yet, but it's still going to be a super, super good fight. So make sure everyone pull up Anaheim, California, Ticketmaster.com. Be there, baby.
I was going to say that, you know, do you think this is the toughest opponent? Obviously, he's still a guy who was, you know, he's not all that old. He's got a ton of fights. He's got, I think, 61 pro fights. Think this is the toughest challenge for you if you take everything into consideration?
Yeah, taking everything into consideration and how hard he's training behind the scenes, people saying that this is the most serious he's ever taken a fight, and the fact that he's a former world champion, 30-something knockouts.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.